everyone. Good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're from, all across the world. We have a fantastic audience here today. So thank you for joining, and uh, we'll definitely make sure that this is going to be a fun session for everyone. And if there are like specific questions, if something that you would like to know more, we are here. You can just put it in the live chat or question and answer side of it. Question and answers, we'll try to address it as we go or towards the end of the session. I'm co-founder and CEO at Litmus. My name is Vatsal Shah. I'm based out of our headquarters in Santa Clara. With me, I have Pat Desai. Pat leads a product development engineering for Litmus on the industrial side as well as solutions team. And we have a very nice session for everybody here today. Before we jump into hardcore world of industrial data, I wanted to say Happy Women's Day to everyone out there. Uh, and it was just a pure coincidence that Litmus UNS got organized this day, but thank you and Happy Women's Day. Let's start. So as we go into unified namespace context, and as we go into like all things that we have built, all things that we have seen in private beta, our learnings, we want to share all of those things with you. But for first few minutes, I want to give context about Litmus and why we started building unified namespace or data broker product in the first place. So just as a brief context about Litmus, Litmus has been founded in 2015, close to 100 people in the company. Like we almost all of us, we come from industrial and manufacturing background, and that's what something that we are very much proud of. We are headquarters in Silicon Valley, but we have offices in Toronto, Munich, Tokyo, all across the world. Our customers are pretty much every continent, and like everywhere all across the world. So, like we are pretty global. We are product first. So Litmus UNS is the third product that we launched. The first product that we launched was Litmus Edge. The second one is Litmus Edge Manager and UNS. There's a fantastic backstory that I cannot cover around this on this specific webinar. But every single thing that we developed it based on customer feedback. We developed it based on user feedback. We want to create the complete industrial data journey from source of the data, which is control systems, automation systems, sensors, new sensors, video. From that point all the way to the final results that we are deriving, we wanted to create the complete data journey. And that's why we keep on adding different a product in the portfolio to complete that vision. We are well trusted, like deployed thousands of sites all across the world, across different industries, verticals, region. And one of the biggest factor behind that is our customer success team, our customer obsessed culture that we have. Everybody at Litmus is part of customer success. So that culture allowed us to understand, get close to the users, and build the product portfolio in a very much aligned way. Going into, let's say, if you look at 2015, before I come to UNS, I'm going to explain why we are continuing on this journey. So all of us here, we know that industrial data infrastructure is complex. This is before I was born. This is before most of us were born. So the control systems were created in that in the time frame to solve a specific automation task. Might be instrumentation and control specific, or motor control, drive control, whatever it is. It was created to solve a specific instrumentation and control task. Over years, a lot of those systems, they brought their own data infrastructure. A power system brought their own SQL server, Access database, or they had their own historian systems that they were built. And on the top of it, there were a lot of legacy or purpose-built application. We can't call inductive legacy. That's a model, but it's a purpose-built. So there are a lot of purpose-built applications which are created on the top of it. So if we go on any manufacturing or industrial environment there, this is a reality. Large amount of use case specific, vertical specific, region specific, industry specific silos that exist. In this environment, creating meaningful data driven innovations, it's time consuming, it's very nonlinear, and it's expensive. There is no repeatability inside it. We see one customer spent close to a year to collect all the data out of their Siemens and Rockwell and Emerson systems. Some customers, they have OPC UA server, so they might be able to do it in matter of weeks. But once again, up, down, there is no clear path for it. Creating actionable KPIs, sometimes we are pushing for months. ROI driving application like predictive maintenance, lights off manufacturing, specific ESG use cases, solar monitoring use cases, a lot of use cases. And ROI driving application, we are already talking about months and years in cycle. Once you got all of those, scaling it up globally, taking from one site, replicating it across 10 different sites, 100 different sites, 100 different assets, it's not a proven path. There has been a lot of tries, but the complexity keeps on going up as we go further in artificial intelligence and machine learning cycles. So all of this mess that we have, and innovators are frustrated with the fragmented data landscape and a lot of suboptimal solution. I'm going to purchase this OPC server. I'm going to purchase this data ops. I'm going to purchase this broker. I'm going to purchase this visualization. I'm going to purchase this database. Try to group all of them together. You will end up creating 4 center of excellence and 4 different infrastructure that 4 different team has to maintain. Or one team has to maintain, but they have to be very competent and reliable around it. So to solve that, we created Litmus as a company and Litmus Edge, Edge Manager, and UNS as a product. We have large amount of library to natively connect out of those control systems. So that's given. We have been developing it since last 8 years. Every system out there, control systems, historian systems, or anything else, we should be able to collect the data. We normalize that data in a JSON format. And that's one piece of the context. It helped us a lot when we were building UNS, which is we had all the data normalized. So data coming out of OSI soft or data coming out of Siemens CNC system, it will look exactly same. Then we have a local message broker, local edge data processing, edge analytics, and then integrate data out to the smarter systems that they can consume that data. Cloud systems, data warehouses system. Once again, we have been doing it for a while now. So we are on a 5-stage of customer journey all across those thousands of sites, hundreds of customers that we are working with. They trust us for data collection, contextualization at the edge, or data modeling at the edge analytics, integrating it to cloud, and scaling with a second product, Edge Manager, scaling up all over the world. But what we over last 1.5 2 years type of time frame, what we started saying is we were collecting all the data, we were integrating it to the message brokers, or we were integrating it to the database, data warehousing system, and we were constantly relying. We collected terabytes of data, but we were constantly relying on those systems to catch up with us. And that integration layer always created challenges. So once again, there are central data broker. There are a lot of cloud native services out there. There are lots of open source solutions out there, or there are a lot of closed source point solutions out there as well. We work with pretty much each and every one of them across customers. There are advantages of one, there are disadvantages of another one, but there was never a consistent mechanism when we bring large amount of data from our edge system, how that data is going to get routed, how that data is going to get orchestrated, what type of data governance will be on the top of it. So all of those challenges, they were always there inside that central data broker architecture. Thus, we started working on the unified namespace concept as a part of it. Unified namespace, the terminology or a lot of innovations, it came from Industry 4.0 or Walker Reynolds and Mastermind team itself. They crafted the initial concept of how event-driven architecture can be used to bridge IT and OT systems together. It's a highly validated concept. At the same time, there are challenges because there are a lot of things which are still left for users to figure it out. Anywhere from that core MQTT broker piece. MQTT by itself, it's not built for some of the enterprise grade use cases. It is built for more peer-to-peer communication, or it's built for more fan-in, fan-out type of communication. But when you try to do more on the top of it, it hits the limitations very fast. So unified namespace required MQTT at a core. but a lot of data hierarchy, standardization, governance, and other things, they had to be built on the top of it. So later last year, we started working on the unified namespace as a product. It is a standalone product. It does not require Litmus Edge or Edge Manager. Litmus Edge is a partner product that brings all the data that we collected, contextualized, analyzed right on the plant floor. It makes it available to the unified namespace. So hierarchy, standardization, and governance can be implemented on that data, on Litmus Edge data or non-Litmus Edge data. We can integrate directly to SCADA systems, MES systems. We can integrate directly to MQTT aware databases and more. And over time, Litmus Edge Manager, like it is managing Litmus Edge, we are going to maintain global UNS infrastructure with Litmus Edge Manager as well. With this, it's my 10 minutes are up. So let's go into building the unified namespace. Before we start building it, I'm going to set the business context for Parth to take it forward. The business context of this unified namespace that we are going to build today is, it came from our own existing customer. So we announced a private beta of Litmus UNS in November, December timeframe last year. We had an amazing amount of like signups, and we tried to talk with as many customers as we could. Being an existing Litmus customer, they already had data collected, so it was easier for us to plug into this specific customer. They are a highly innovative team. They are in a food and beverage segment, specifically beverage, not much food, milk and milk derived products. They have 20 sites. About 6 of them, they are greenfield, nine sites, they are brownfield. And recently they acquired a company about 6-7 years back. And that company also brought five different other plants, which are more like a mixture of greenfield and brownfield. There are 2 different distinct MES systems. For the company that they acquired, it has nothing to do with the MES systems that they were using. There are multiple different SCADA. There's a Ignition to G to some of the Wonderware tools out there, and a lot of other HMI systems and SCADA systems were already on the plant floor. Their complete strategy is in Microsoft Azure, and they already started some OpenAI and AI integration there. Lots of data. Again, this was an advantage because Litmus Edge was already pre-installed. About 90% of plant data, Litmus Edge system already had it. So that made this unified namespace building a little bit easier. It was deployed by lead solution architect, and we were not engaged with them up until the whole installation was done. Challenges that they had was across their own plants, across brownfield plants, and across the acquired plants that they have, they wanted to have an exact same structure. So when their data breaks and other services that they are consuming data, it will have it can do wildcard subscription on a specific type of production line plant and visualize that data correctly. And that second challenge was building that plant to global. So this is the context, and right next to that, this is how the infrastructure looked like. It was a Tetra Pak facility, high shear mixture, tanks, pasteurizer, aseptic tank, and other things, they were already in place. And at a broader level, they had this type of data. We actually took that data out of their system itself, from enterprise level, site level, lights, machine, and sensor. This is their UNS structure, and each and every structure, they had a specific type of data available inside it. Once again, inside their existing Oracle EAM system, they have pretty much all of this data available already. So Pat, I'm going to pass it to you to build this specific unified namespace. This customer has 3,400 topics. We can't do that in next 15 minutes, but at least let's create a unified namespace where enterprise is there. There is an aseptic Tetra Pak line, compressor, and let's connect to the real PLC system, which is connected to that compressor, build the mixer asset model, or build a boiler asset model, compressor asset model, and define that global hierarchy and build it out. Shall we do that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so I'm going to pass the screen sharing. Sunjita, you might want to take it forward.
UNS. My name is Parth Desai. I head product management and solutions engineering at Litmus. Today, let me show you what my team has been building over the last few months, what we officially call the Litmus UNS. It has three main elements. At the very core sits an enterprise-grade MQTT broker that can scale over 1 million messages per second seamlessly, have built-in authentication and authorization, supports native high availability and clustering, supports TLS SSL for MQTT version 3, version 3.1.1, and version 5. Can be deployed as a VM, Docker, and onto the cloud. Offers monitoring and auditing for compliance and troubleshooting. At the very top sits data hierarchy that acts as the foundational layer to organize your data, irrespective of the data source. And finally, once the data hierarchy is established, Litmus UNS offers a way to standardize the data. Litmus UNS will be available on Litmus Central as an offering when we launch it as GA. There are resources available to help you get started with Litmus Central. Like Litmus Edge and Litmus Edge Manager, we will have extensive documentation available publicly, and there's already some to help you get started on the beta. With that said, let's get started. Execute the file to start the instance on your web browser. You can find the username and password of the beta version in our documentation. Once you log in, you see a dashboard that gives a quick snapshot of the status of the MQTT broker, which is built inside Litmus UNS. It would show you your clients, topics, subscriptions, any integrations like Kafka, number of messages received and sent, and the cluster nodes. The next component inside Litmus UNS is where you define the data hierarchy. Go to the Explore Unified namespace. There are three tabs here. Unified, here you can define the UNS structure. Non-unified, structured topic but not defined in the UNS allowed list. Raw, non-structured topic. Let's create a sample UNS structure in the Configure UNS tab. We will start by configuring the UNS. What this means is we can create a rule for the class configuration at the enterprise site area and down to the sensor level. Let's define a company called ABC Corp, which has a site at Houston and another site at Dallas. They have an area called production line. Once you have created the specific rules, let's save them. Next, we need to ensure the correct access control lists are set up to manage permissions and control access to the UNS. For the purpose of this demo, we will associate a Litmus Edge account to the UNS. Litmus Edge is the heart of our industrial data ops suite that connects to industrial assets of all kinds, collects data, normalizes and contextualizes it, analyzes it, all at the edge of the industrial network. I have a Litmus Edge instance open here already. If you would like to try Litmus Edge, you can download a 14-day trial for free from Litmus Central portal. Litmus Edge will provide a pre-built connector to Litmus UNS, making the data journey seamless for the user. Remember that this data source can be any other data source, like other MQTT clients or MQTT sensors, AGVs, or cobots that are not yet connected to Litmus Edge. In our example, the user would go to Integrations in the Litmus Edge instance, add a UNS connector using the encrypted UNS token. Let's click Add, select Litmus UNS connector, paste the encrypted token that we received from Litmus UNS, give it a name, and click Add. Simply toggle the button and it will be connected to your Litmus UNS instance. Now go to Litmus UNS, refresh the page, and you would see the Litmus Edge account added under Accounts. Click on the account to check the details and validate everything looks good. Going back to Litmus Edge, let's quickly connect a Siemens device from the plant floor. Give it a name, a description, IP address, and just like that, you have your device connected. Let's add a few tags that are of interest for collecting data. You can do that by browsing the tags. Similarly, let's add another Allen Bradley device for which I have a template created. As you can see, with template I was easily able to deploy another device with its tags available. Now we move on to create a data model. You can do this right inside Litmus Edge using Digital Twin feature. For our example, let's create the asset model of a compressor. We have already connected Litmus UNS to our Litmus Edge instance. Let's define the UNS attributes under static attributes. A user can define the value for the UNS structure at the instance level and it will auto-populate on to Litmus UNS. Let's go to dynamic attributes and add the time series data. For this demo, we will add two time series data called temperature and pressure of the compressor, which is being collected using Device Hub. The schema builder provides a logical representation of the static and dynamic attributes. It allows drag and drop of attributes that can help in building a custom data structure easily. Let's create the schema for our data model by adding dynamic attributes. The UNS parameters are added by default to the schema, which is understood by Litmus UNS. Once we have the model built, we create an instance of that model. Select the model, give it a name. Here we select the Litmus UNS for the data hierarchy connector that we want to send the data to. A single instance of Litmus Edge can have multiple UNS connectors, site and global. Select the connector accordingly and click Add. Let's edit the instance to define the UNS. Define the topic source from where the data is being collected. Save the instance. Let's see what happens automatically onto the UNS. Let's click on the View Data button to check the digital twin data being published to Litmus UNS. We do have an IO-Link master publishing data to the UNS broker. Let's enable that. Go to UNS. As you can see, the data it is publishing does not follow the UNS rule. It is available under the non-unified tab. This is important ingredient of data governance. Using this feature, we can define and enforce consistent naming conventions, data formats, and structures within the UNS to ensure data quality and interoperability. We have already seen access control. This also forms part of data governance, determining who can access and modify data within the UNS based on defined roles and permissions. All of these together can help to establish policies and procedures for data creation, storage, archiving, and deletion. Implementing the appropriate security measures can protect the data from unauthorized access, modification, or loss. I also want to note that anything that is not defined in the UNS as a class will also be published, but it will be listed under non-unified. And everything will be available under raw, both unified and non-unified. The question is, why did we keep this provision? Suppose you want to define UNS structure at the corporate level only, and you want to prevent site level publish of data that does not comply to the UNS structure, then you can do both data and topic level governance by controlling the classes. Now that we have built the UNS for machine line site and enterprise level, we can create a Kafka bridge to allow data exchange between multiple UNS, a key requirement for many of our users. The Litmus UNS instance is pre-configured to stream Kafka data to Confluent on a topic called Litmus UNS. Let's send the digital data for the compressor to Confluent by defining a wildcard at the UNS level. Let's check the data being received on the Confluent side. This brings me to the end of this short demo of Litmus UNS as it stands today. My team will continue to build on it and add enhancements and better UX to make the entire data journey seamless for end users. Please send in your questions and comments, and with that, let's move on to the AMA session.
Perfect. No, thanks a lot, Parth. And I'm going to share my screen again. So what we saw right now is the journey that we implemented from UNS. The structure was defined. Structure was created in a way that is completely flexible. So anywhere from site, like a specific asset, sensor level, all of those different things, they were configured on unified namespace first. Once we had that, all we had to do was bring existing data that Litmus Edge has, or non-Litmus Edge system itself. I'm not screening the screen share as well. So Sunajita, you might have to allow my screen sharing again. Sorry. Yeah. So like what Path showed was much more about like creating the structure itself. That structure is flexible. The structure is, we created this enterprise site line. Right now we have one UNS structure. In future, we might have multiple structure under the same UNS umbrella. It is just a flexibility that we are looking for. So enterprise site will have exactly same two top line, but rather than having line, there might be a storage warehouse. So enterprise site, line, machine, and sensors for one type of data. Another type of data will be enterprise site data warehouse, enterprise site security system. So the whole idea is the structure has been created. The structure is crafted in a way that bringing existing data inside this layout is quite seamless. The product works in a fantastic way. Millions of messages per second. There should not be any specific challenge out of it. And the journey from where we are and where we want to be, it's well crafted by the team from data collection purposes, authentication and distributed governance purposes. API layers are created. discovery layer is created with the GraphQL, and now the complete journey from organizing data itself, it also got very seamless. Before we jump into question and answers part, I have a one specific slide. So what challenges that we saw while we were building this? This is for all of us as a community. We have to resolve this. For unified namespace and for an architecture where there is a seamless communication between operational technology and IT system, we saw few key challenges. Challenge number one is the metadata management. Because topic structures, they are quite weak in terms of amount of metadata they can carry, or they don't carry any metadata at all. If we want to define that we connected this tetrapack tank system, we have to put that in a payload rather than some specific metadata. It's only possible at the payload level. So querying and discovery of a type of sensors and asset is difficult. We have one of the specific customer, they were looking for, give me data from all of the blow molder on my plant. That was their query that they wanted to do. Rather than hierarchy, they wanted unified namespace to provide them a query interface so they can collect all the data related to that. So that is something has to be designed. MQTT is not capable of doing it. So GraphQL and other extensions will have to come at rescue. You saw, again, we got so many questions that how will you define Sparkplug-B and OPC UA? We are not restricting it. We are fully compliant with Sparkplug-B and OPC UA over MQTT, but we put them in a non-unified structure for the time being. For unified structure, as long as something follows the standard structure, it goes in the unified. If it doesn't follow standard structure, it has to go in the non-unified. It will work, but governance of it, there are some specific challenges in Sparkplug-B, not easy to overcome, but we will be taking care of it as we go. Another big point was LionX system that Parth was showing. This is a Belden hardware. It has a native MQTT client as a part of the gateway, but it pushes data into some non-standard format that no applications will understand. So Litmus Edge can push data into standard format. It can push data into multiple different JSON structure itself, and schema registry is created for our data, but we cannot leave behind LionX and all the other systems. So schema registry has to be created as soon as possible. We are working on it, and in the upcoming release, we will have MQTT schema registry launched as well. And there is a UNS bridging. Like the bridging itself, currently MQTT bridging, it misses out some of the mapping functionality. It is bare minimum. So we have to design ground up, which is unified to unified namespace bridging rather than MQTT bridging. This is our learning. Again, this is up for discussion, and then somebody might have done it better than us, but this is where we are. With this, let's open up for question and answers. We got at least 20 questions to answers in Q&A. So we'll try to answer as many as we can.
Thanks, Vatsal. Yes, great session so far, and thank you everyone for submitting questions. We'll take the first one. So there's a question which says, you showed the JSON for the whole asset model. Can I do individual sensors?
Yeah.
Is that something you would like to?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Sure.
So yes, you can do it individually at the tag level as well. As long as you have the metadata defined, it will automatically route to the specific topic.
Cool. And I think there is a follow-on question which says, I've seen JSON used before to hold vibration data, which is huge. So watching the data is difficult. How do you handle large payloads in views?
So, Pat, if you can please share your screen, and Sunjay, if you give him rights. So, yes, like right now, for us, we had to create some sort of visualization layer for the unified namespace itself. Like the larger payload, it might get a little bit complex to view. But if we look at a specific topic and a specific structure itself, it's more or less some user experience side that we have to improve. The user interface is quite capable of handling it. we are using MQTT WebSockets connectivity to the front end where we are showing the unified namespace.
I think Part's having trouble sharing his screen.
Yeah, that's completely fine.
Yeah, but we can move on to the next question. So the next question was, why would you restrict number of sites or assets? I saw that there was restriction.
Yeah, that was more or less a business model discussion. We are not enforcing it just yet, but as we launched the open version or low cost, no cost version of our product, and for our enterprise users, there might be a unlimited usage of the product itself. We were planning about it, we were thinking about it. Nothing is enforced as of this moment. Once again, if Parth has a screen I can share, then we'll definitely check.
I think I need permissions.
Yeah.
Okay. It says I started. Okay, I think like Part's trying to share.
So there is a question from Vinod, which is UNS support clustering. Yes, by default, the MQTT broker itself, it has a high availability and clustering defined. We utilize some specific Raft and other protocols behind the scene. It's native high available, and all the topics and everything, it can go on a quite resilient way.
Perfect. Parth, was there something that you wanted to show for the previous question, or are we moving on?
Yes,
just configure itself, and then we can see the restrictions question. Yeah, so these are the rules again. Like they are defined, but they are not enforced. It's more or less something that we are thinking as we go for the extended enterprise grade business model.
So there was this question about data sources. It says that in our demo, we showed the data journey from Litmus Edge. So the question is really, what other data sources could we support, and how will that be any different than using Litmus Edge?
You can support any generic MQTT clients and define the rules on the broker itself if you want to align it to the UNS classes which are defined. So there is no restriction on the data types or the data formats.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you can bring any existing MQTT client, again, as Parth was showing on the Linux side. That's just one of the MQTT clients itself. It's a IO-Link client.
Sure. People are interested, like they saw Kafka, so they are interested to know what other pre-built integrations will we support with Litmus UNS.
So Kafka is available as of now, and MQTT bridging will be available very soon, which will allow you to bridge to UNS brokers.
And as we go further, there might be more specific partner-driven applications. We have a Falconery under brewing right now, and then there is a integration with a visualization system, integration with the data warehousing system. So we'll be launching multiple bridge. The functionality of bridge, we are embedding it inside the unified namespace screen itself. So it gets very easy to manage. The same topic hierarchy, we can push it into multiple different systems out of the box.
Sure. Thanks, Vatsal. So there is a question on GraphQL. I know you mentioned a little bit of it earlier. Is there something we want to go deeper, or basically the question is, how does GraphQL work?
Yeah, so GraphQL API, but if you want to show just a settings page itself, like GraphQL API itself, it does have a few functions available. It has a discovery, so users should be able to discover the whole hierarchy. And on the top of it, there is like a specific API layer for organizing the topics, updating the topic, hiding the topics, and other things. They are also available as a part of GraphQL. Currently inside this product, we have MQTT. Hopefully nobody uses that. MQTT S, MQTT WebSocket Secure. There is an interface for data, HTTPS interface, and GraphQL interface for metadata and discovery. This is how we have configured MQTT for data communication purposes and GraphQL for maintenance and management and metadata management purposes.
Thank you, Vatsal. This is an interesting one. Can we replace our existing MQTT broker with Litmus UNS?
Yes, you can. The core functionality of MQTT broker, everything we were committed that it's going to be no cost. Somebody asked the pricing question in the live chat as well, but the core functionality of MQTT broker is going to be at $0 itself. So if you would like to replace, if you want to get out of paying for somebody else's MQTT broker, by all means, go ahead and do that. As soon as we go GA, we would very much like it.
Thank you, Vatsal. We had a few interesting questions from the live chat as well. So it said this is more on the Litmus Edge side though. The graphic showed OSI soft Pi as a source system. Can it be a target system also? Can Litmus create event frames in Pi asset framework?
Go for it.
So as of now, we do have a northbound connector which can write time series data to Pi server. We do have creating event frames for asset framework in our roadmap. But as of now, you can send data to OSI Pi server and Aviva, which is their cloud offering.
Aviva Data Hub.
Hopefully that answers the question. Yes.
Yeah. And if you can quickly show that on Litmus Edge, if you have Litmus Edge available. So this is Aviva Data Hub connector for pushing data out to Aviva Data Hub ecosystem. Just define the client ID and other things. This is Litmus Edge, not the UNS functionality. Just FYI. But yes, northbound and southbound, both of them.
Awesome. Okay, then there was another question. Again, I think this is Litmus Edge. To collect data from different vendors, ABB, Siemens, etc., are the data from sensors or PLC from these vendors? If yes, which protocols are you using or supporting? What kind of edge router or device are you using?
We are not using anything. That's Litmus Edge.
Yeah.
So Litmus Edge has a very large library of every connectivity out there out of the box. So you're not required to purchase any other router or gateway. If you go to device up path, we have developed native drivers for all sorts of connectivity from, let's say, ABB, Allen Bradley, even if it goes for CAN bus, Emerson, Fanuc, Heidehans, like CNC systems, Kians. Again, doesn't matter if you go in one of them, Mitsubishi, you will find serial connectivity, 485 connectivity, or Ethernet connectivity. Everything is part of it. It's just selecting the specific system, defining the IP address or serial communication, and we collect data inside Litmus Edge directly, natively from that PLC, control systems, historian system, DCS systems right away. So again, that was the step for us, that because we had all of that data, how do we route all of that data into unified namespace was the question for us as I was explaining it earlier. But we are not using any router whatsoever.
Perfect. And I think along those lines, there's a follow-up question which says, do the provided Litmus connectors, such as Allen Bradley SLC 500 or Micrologix, read the PLC database, or do the tags or database need to be imported?
We read it directly, right, Pat? If you just
it's directly. So you can actually create a CSV and then upload if you want to read all tags, but it's directly from the PLC.
Perfect. So I'm not sure I understand this question, if it is in context with the current discussion, but okay, and it just went away. Okay, but this question is, can this be used for only one plant from remote location? So I'm not sure, there was no context if it was for Litmus Edge or Litmus UNS. But Vatsal or Parth, if you want to take a go at it. So the question is, can this be used for only one plant from remote location?
Sure, why not? Like if you're building unified namespace our concept is unified namespace should run close to your assets. So if you have one plant, just run one instance of unified namespace and integrate your IT system, OT systems by utilizing that unified namespace and maintaining it remotely, because we are web user interface driven product. Like you can deploy it in virtual machine, or you can deploy it in a container soon, or Kubernetes cluster. It works out of the box. if you use Litmus Edge, both of them, they can work on an exact same infrastructure. So you're not required to have any like multi-cloud, multiple server systems.
Perfect. This is an interesting question. So the question is there a quick way taking data, for example, a CNC machine, which has OPC UA data, which complies with companion standard to non-uniform naming and import into UNS plug and play?
Oh, that's a heavy question. So yes, companion specs are something that we are very much thinking. Currently, what happens is like when we try to bring a lot of this data in a MQTT broker itself, we definitely did try to do that. It is fully compliant. You can bring it in, but there is an application on the other side. They should be able to understand the data and metadata structure, and even our applications does not fully understand all of that. So yes, you can utilize it, but your applications on both sides needs to understand that companion spec.
Great. And I think we will end the session with this final question. If building a UNS infrastructure from scratch, why should I select Litmus over any other solutions in the market?
One of the question that user has to ask is there is a journey of the data itself from connectivity to the plant floor. If customer has everything defined in OPC UA, if all the data that you want to bring ever is already available to you, sure, there might be an alternative path which is utilizing some sort of a data ops system, then utilizing some sort of MQTT broker, and then utilizing your own orchestration layer on the top of it. That path requires dealing with 3 different vendors distinguishedly. And scaling up with 3 different vendors is always a challenge. Versus Litmus, we are the source of the data we collect it natively out of any system out there. Today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, any system that you want to bring, Litmus Edge already can collect all the data natively. So the reliance on a legacy Windows-based OPC servers or OPC DS systems and other things, all of them, they go away. So we natively collect data. The second big advantage is you do not have to take care of the security layer or maintenance layer between both of this product. That means everything that we develop, it will be developed in tandem between Litmus Edge and UNS together. So when we do that, the more features, more APIs are added inside UNS, Litmus Edge system will by default understand it. So it becomes maintenance over next few years or over next decade. It gets much easier because one vendor is dealing with the complete API integration. And the last one, it's highly scalable, highly scalable in terms of the unified namespace structure. You don't have to deal with any other MQTT broker vendor, maintain their cybersecurity issues and maintenance and center of excellence around it. Yes, again, my answer is there are alternative approach if you are willing to work with multiple vendors and multiple different data journeys defined. But I understand that specific question and I'll reach out to that person directly. There are other questions. If you want with that in next 1 minute, I can do it. Suranjita.
Sure. There's one in terms of security. I'm not sure I understand the question, but it says in terms of security, you need to know the rating of your system.
So Litmus UNS itself, it can be connected with your LDAP Active Directory system. Behind the scene, we use Red Hat Key Clock as a authentication and authorization layer. Inside our product itself, everything is stored inside encrypted layer where it allows us to store the credentials and everything locally. How does user maintain governance across all of them? That is still one of the questions that has to be figured out.
Sure. This is, I think, again, another Litmus Edge question. Yes. It says, how can I read data from MS SQL database in Litmus Edge? The current integration only writes to the database.
So all our integrations are bidirectional. You can use it to write back to Litmus Edge.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
And for enforcement of the Purdue model, yeah, this is going to like depending on the resources that user has, it is possible. We like in our private beta, we selected one specific customer that that believes in Purdue model quite aggressively. So what they did was they had a multiple different layers. So Litmus Edge was deployed on level 1, 2 in a completely air-gapped way on a plant floor. UNS structure was deployed in level 2.5, 3. There was one more UNS was deployed on level 4, which was there still on-premise, not cloud yet. So they could flow the data from one layer to another layer and adhere the Purdue model as well. Once again, do we encourage this architecture or not? It's really not our choice. It's if customers are looking for Purdue model, cascading inside Litmus Edge to UNS and UNS to UNS is definitely possible. But it really depends on the how closely they want to follow.
Awesome. I think Vatsal, we might get a few more questions, and but we are running short on time. So what I would suggest is please feel free to send in your questions. We will make sure to answer every one of them individually and go to any depth that you need to engage on for a conversation. And really, thank you for joining us this morning, afternoon, night, whatever, wherever you are. And with that, thank you. And it would be the end of this webinar. Thank you, Vatsal and Parth.
Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you for joining. And go to central.litmus.io if you want to try it right now.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.